Perfect. All right. Welcome to the Legends on Deck podcast. We are back. Actually, my first time on the Legends on Deck podcast. David and the website had one years ago. COVID probably screwed all that up too. So I'm Brian Koss. I'm a senior editor at Legends on Deck, and I am with David Conde, who is the founder of Legends on Deck, the man himself. We are coming to you from the Sunshine State, both of us in a different part of the state, but we're both here. And we're excited to talk baseball now that baseball season's kind of over, but or getting that way. But we're excited to kind of recap it and just talk baseball during the winter months too.
No, definitely. It's funny. Baseball season is over for everyone else but Florida.
Yeah, for Florida, your boys are still playing, right?
We have fall ball, and then we have a month off for the holidays, like a break, and we go right into the spring, and we can play baseball year round. Yeah, I love it. This is like a baseball lover's paradise.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So yeah, we're going to talk a lot. I think we'll talk a lot of youth baseball today, and we're going to get David's take on all that, and we're going to bring in a guest here shortly. Jon Rivera, one of your longtime coaching buddies.
Yeah, we started out when our boys were in T-ball. My son is 11. His son is 10. And when we bring them on, I kind of give them a jab. That's how we met. So when we bring them on, I'll give them that little jab on our story. But we were coached together for a long time, and it's very interesting how when you come together as parents, the whole idea is always thinking that, it's daddy's ball, and we never coached that way. Our kids had to sit, and our kids had to, do their time. Not everybody does that, but the way we did, the chemistry we had was just amazing. When someone you just meet, and then our whole passion was just to coach baseball and mentor these kids. That's
awesome. Yeah, that'll be a fun thing to talk about. There's a lot of baseball podcasts out there, sports podcasts in general, and it's almost their entire focus is usually on like the professional side of sports and all that. But I think one thing that we do at Legends on Deck is we kind of hit a broad spectrum of baseball topics.
Exactly.
And it's fun that way because you've got kids that are playing baseball. I've got kids that my son's just starting out playing baseball. He's 6 years old. So it's kind of fun to hit the youth side, and just what we've written about in the last year or two. It's just been all over the place with different baseball topics, and some of the writers that we brought on have been really cool. So hopefully we're going to get to them in some of the later episodes.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing, Legends on Deck, and one day we'll also get together with the other co-founder that kind of brought this on with me. And the whole idea, Legends on Deck was always that name, this perfect name of the next star. It wasn't all about, just the superstars that everyone likes to write about. We like to write about the unknown guys that no one knows about that can be the star. So imagine your son is 6 years old, who knows? He's another Legends on Deck. He's on deck ready to take off. So I think the idea of talking about the youth of the game and the high school level and the college level it's a huge. There's so much to talk about. And I think we're taking on this venture is an awesome thing. I think people are going to really enjoy it. And actually the guests that we bring on are going to be, regarding all that stuff we want to talk about. So I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I totally agree. I will touch briefly though before we get Jon in here, let's touch briefly on kind of the MLB season and that wrapping up. And the World Series wrapped up about 3 weeks ago. And I don't know about you, but I found it pretty funny in general that the Braves ended up as the World Series champions this year. I was getting a little bit discouraged at the beginning of the Major League Baseball season. I watch ball all year. I watch the Tigers. I watch the Rays. I watch, but I know people that didn't watch baseball this year, largely because of the decision of Major League Baseball to get political at the beginning of the season. In moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta over a voting bill in the Florida legislature, which was just such a Yeah, and the Georgia Legends, it's such a bizarre thing and for them to do. It has nothing to do with baseball, obviously. But you see this with sports leagues now, and they got to get into the political realm, and I don't think fans want that. I don't think they want that, and it's clear that fans don't really want that. But the city of Atlanta and their area missed out on all this money that they could have gotten from the All-Star game. They were actually planning a whole Hank Aaron tribute for the All-Star game, and it was going to be all around him, who he passed away earlier in the year. It's too bad. It's too bad that happened to Atlanta, but I think they kind of got him. They kind of got Commissioner Manfred back by just coming in hot at the end of the season and winning the World Series. The other thing I thought was interesting, they won the World Series without Ron Acuna Jr., who was their top star. They come in August, and they come in at the trade deadline. They redo their outfield, and they just get hot at the right time. So a lot of times it's hot at the right time, and that happened to the Braves, and it was pretty exciting actually to watch.
I remember when you and I were discussing sometime on the All-Star break, and COVID kind of took my love of baseball away, not because of the love of it, but just because there's so much going on, and you're home, you're working now. I work from home, and I have my boys and everything. You're trying to manage that household now. So for a while I was kind of like, baseball is there, but like life took over. You just forgot about baseball. And even though baseball sometimes takes you away from life, and where you can enjoy it and not have to worry about life, this time life kind of took me over. And I remember we spoke about that around the time, and I'm just like, it just wouldn't dawn on me, like, what are they doing? Like, why would you do something like that? You're not punishing anybody but the fans. At the end of the day, these are the fans coming together to watch the superstars of the game. So it's funny when Atlanta started going on a little run. I know you kind of like alluded to it a little bit. Man, imagine they get to the World Series and win this whole thing, and or even just to get to the World Series. And I can understand. I'm a Met fan,
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't root for Atlanta for anything else, but I think, and not to jab either side, it's just as a baseball fan, I really wanted them to get to the World Series. And when they won it, I mean, I literally sat there, I'm like, oh my God, like they just pretty much got, if in their mindset, they wanted to just get back at baseball and say, look what you did, and we're going to take this away. You won a World Series, negated whatever happened in the spring or something in July. For the All-Star game, and just celebrate. That didn't even matter anymore. What mattered most, they got a World Series ring, and all that money came back. Whatever they lost, they came back.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. It was fun to watch, and I think Manfred, when he got in to present the trophy, I swear I was watching it very intently to see what his reaction was going to be, and I think he handed it off and he just got out. He was like, I'm out of here. I don't want to be here. He probably felt pretty embarrassed, but it was good for them. It was a good end to the baseball season. The one thing that I want to comment on, and I hope that Major League Baseball addresses this going forward, and I don't know that they will, because there's probably money involved, but these late starts to these ball games are too much. World Series games starting, they say they start at 8, they really start at like 8:15 or 8:30. And my kids are in bed, and I let my son stay up. I actually let him stay up longer than I would, a while longer than I normally, but he couldn't even make it. It was like 9:15 and he's passed out, and it's like the third inning. So they got to address it if they want younger kids to watch these games, which I think that's what they should want. You got to start at least the weekend games, at 6 or 7 o'clock. In like a normal regular season games, a 7 o'clock start. And I understand they got to deal with the West Coast and all that, but you got to give these kids an opportunity, younger kids, that you're going to try to get hooked into the game to watch more of these games.
And I agree with that. I was my sons, who are now, one's 15, one's 11. They really love to sit there and watch the game with me. And then my oldest, like, Dad, I want to watch the game. I'm like, you gotta go to school tomorrow. And he's like, but I really want to watch. So I would have the same thing. But he's 15, but he gets up way early in the morning.
Right. He's getting up. High school starts early.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, that's fine. Just sit with me for a little bit. But then it's like, you can't really enjoy that with your kid. You know, you can't really sit down and enjoy the game and watch it. And I know that has to do with sponsorship as well, because they're losing, you know, prime time.
I'm sure, but yeah, I agree. It's like, there's stuff involved in that, but I mean, they're competing already. I mean, you're in October. When you're into October and you're playing, or almost November, they have football games on Saturday. There's football games on Sunday. You're competing with a lot of stuff out there. So I just think they should make it more accommodating to fans.
Maybe start around 5 o'clock. That's a 3 o'clock game on the West Coast. It's perfect.
Right. I mean, they start, the NFL plays a 1 o'clock and a 3 o'clock game every week. So
you only get a Monday night. I think Monday night football, right? Or Thursday night football is the only like night game, and everything else is in the day where people could be there.
Exactly. So I agree. I think fans should lean heavy on that one and demand some better start times. Yep. But why don't we bring Jon in?
All right. And just so everybody knows, because this is our first one that we're redoing, the previous one we did for Legends on Deck, we have the podcast, and it's just the website was always created as people to come and go. It wasn't anything that people stayed for a long time in the beginning. It was more so, hey, this is a platform for you, come and write if you want. A lot of guys went on to bigger and better things. So the podcast started. It was great, but then life took a chance, took people away, and then COVID came, and forget about it. It's just like no time for anything. So just we're hoping that this becomes bigger and better, and the people that we bring on, and like I said, we're new to this, but we'll have some kinks going on, and we're trying to get Jon Rivera in here now.
Well, it's been fun. I've been writing with you since 2017. So
wow,
we're going on
4 years
believe
already.
it or not, we're going on 40. Yeah. So by the spring of 2022, I think it was April, I found you around opening day in 17. So that'd be 5 years in the spring.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
So you came in like 2 years right after we started, because we started this 2015. So
yeah.
So here goes Jon. He's trying to get in now. I'm ready to get my jab on. Him and his audio issues here. Jon has a beautiful mic. I gotta get his mic so that I look more professional.
Yeah, he's gonna out podcast us.
He just can't. He has a beautiful mic. He can't figure out the audio here or the video. One of the other episodes, just kind of touch on a little bit, hopefully to bring John Ginder in here to really talk about the beginnings of Legends on Deck and why we started this. And I look at the site and like, wow, 2015, and we're just like 6 years later. It feels like a lifetime we started this thing.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Hey, can you hear me, Dave?
You got oh, there he is.
Yeah, I hear you. Finally.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, Jon. How are you?
Good.
Are you going to touch on something, Brian, before we get started with him?
Yeah, so I'm going to bring. I want to kind of get this going between you two. So my background, or my understanding of your background together, is that you guys started coaching in T-ball with your boys that are now what, 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And you guys connected on the baseball field, and you've been coaching on and off since then. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'll start first, Jon, because my story is a little bit crazy. In the first day, my wife decided to sign up.
He'll give you his version of his story, and then I'll give you my version.
So my wife decided to sign on my son to T-ball, and I couldn't be there. I coached my oldest son, and I'm like, okay, I'll get there later. And I think I missed the first practice or something. She says, I don't know who these guys are. They don't really know what they're doing. You need to be here. And he just made your son, something with a bat and don't swing it and put it back in the bucket. And I'm confused. And I don't know baseball, but I know that's not how you do it. I'm like, oh, great, here we go. So I showed up to one of the practices, and I'm amped up. Like, there's nobody, I've been coaching.
Not one of the practices. The first practice.
I showed up and I said, I've been in coaches league for a long time. I got to see who this guy is. I don't know what this guy's bringing non-coaches to this league. And I get there, and I look around, I don't see anything crazy going on. I'm like, okay, this is okay. And he said, hey, can you coach third base? So I go to third base, whatever. And then, I told my wife, I don't know what's going on here, but I think everything's okay. I can see they need some work, some help here and stuff. And we talked afterwards, and that was it. He pulled me in, and I had 2 teams I had to coach that season. My oldest and my little one.
Yeah. That's
so I Little League in Queens, New York, and I knew growing up that parents were an integral part of that experience. So that, and I considered that before I started coaching, but I figured, we're down here in Fort Myers, it won't be an issue. Well, it was the first practice of the T-ball season, and I had this tall guy come give me the dirtiest look. And I was like, I said, I don't know what I did wrong, but I quickly decided to befriend him. And I had actually heard about David before, so I knew he was experienced. And I knew I was going to need him from there on out. So I did everything I could to get him involved with me, and that was the beginning of probably it wasn't on and off. It was about 7 seasons that David and I coached together. Oh, wow. And I say together, but he was, I say coach together, but David was obviously the brains behind. He was the Don Zimmer to Joe Torre. And I've learned so much from him over the years, and obviously it turned into a great friendship as well. So it's been a great experience.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. That that's a good starting point too, because they, you hear the kids aren't learning the right way, and this guy comes storming in to check it out, save the day.
Yeah.
So you guys went through T-ball, right, with the boys, and then I should assume up to machine pitch, and then even into when the kids start pitching.
Oh, so, yeah, I forgot about machine pitch.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, that's fun.
Those weren't my favorite years.
Once they start getting the hang of it a little more, right? No. All right, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that T-ball was more of obviously we're just out there, I don't want to say babysitting, but we're just kind of out there just teaching them about as fundamental can get. And as the kids got older, and as our boys got older, the biggest thing I learned from David is, just like most guys, we are in it. I'm like, I want to win the game. And it took him a lot of years to shake that out of me. He instilled in me the importance of, if we're going to be here, we're going to invest in each and every player, and to develop them and to work with them. So yes, we wanted to win. Yes, I wanted to win. But Dave really brought that home to me about, it's the winning and losing is one thing, but at the end of the year, if we win every game and, we didn't invest in every player, and we didn't, take the time and pull them aside, try to make them better, then, ultimately we didn't succeed and we didn't do our job. And it took me a long time to kind of grasp that. And I credit him for that. It was kind of a long-standing joke. I mean, it's like David was always the cool, calm one sitting on the bucket during the game, and I would literally just be pacing up and down the dugout. Everybody wants to win, so we balanced each other out very, very well. Very well.
Well, let me just cut in quickly, because I'm not the perfect coach, because you have to understand, I had the oldest son that I went through that already. The pacing, the yelling, the screaming, what's going on, trying to win. But I was always given the team with the kids that unfortunately weren't ball players or didn't understand the game. Like, they would just say, oh, he's a new coach in the league, let's just give him these ball players. And in the beginning, I would be frustrated because, like, man, I learned. If I just coach the kids up and teach them the right way, that everyone else the team will come together. And with my oldest son would see that, and he realized that, wow, Dad, you're the type he told me recently that you were that coach that gave everyone a shot. Everyone played, you mix people up. it wasn't any favor. You sat me, I sat him, it wasn't a favoritism type of thing. And some parents didn't like that. I'm like, well, tough. I need to coach this. I had girls on the team. We had girls on the team. We had to coach the girls the same way we coach the boys. We had boys that never picked up a glove before, and pretty much motivate them. And at the end of the season, they get one hit, and that's a victory because they've grown in the game. Oh my God, they got a hit. They never thought they would do that. So my patience with Jon was because I went through it already. And I just would sit there and be like, listen, dude, relax, we got like 20 more games. And I promise you, at the end of the season, we may not have the winning record, but our team is going to be so much better that where they are now. And Jon can attest, every single team we've coached was so much better at the end of the season that every parent wanted us to coach. And we ended up winning fall ball championship together. And our kids did very well. And our sons, we talk about it now, our sons have grown in the game because of how we've coached. Whereas we're not daddy ball. We don't coach daddy ball. It's like, even though sometimes his son was always at shortstop, but I would joke with him about that. But but we didn't. But the kids knew that
Gary Jeter was my favorite.
Yeah, the kids knew we would sit. The kids knew that we would move them around, and the parents understood that. And we had some tough parents, and we can discuss that too. We have tough parents that kind of just drove us crazy. But at the end of the day, we always said we're mentors. Okay, they're not getting signed to a contract right now. Our goal is to get them through T-ball, through grapefruit, which is a machine pitch, through blindness, up to majors, so that at that point they can decide if they want to keep playing baseball. That's my goal as a coach. And I tell Jon all the time, I now love the younger team with their inexperience. I love that, because if I can get them to play together and win, then I done my job. And if I can't, then there's something wrong. Then maybe it's too much about me. So, we've had coaches in the past. It was, where it was away from what we were trying to do. But we had some great coaches that kind of came in with us, with Jon and I, and really jumped on what we were trying to do. And at the end of the day, I could just say our success story is we always just, at the end, we were there. At the end of the season, we were always in the playoffs or ready to take a team down, or, and I think that championship was just at the right time and really showed the league, hey, we don't need the all-stars at every position. We just need kids that want to play and parents that will work with us and understand that our method works. And we could write a book probably together and share that with other coaches that really are starting out and say this method works.
Well,
Brian, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to comment.
Go ahead.
There's the kid.
We'll get the timing down. The only comment I wanted to make is that I just think that's so important, what you guys are saying, because I think the surest way for kids to get discouraged about playing, and this is true in all sports, but we're talking baseball, but if that kid does not get an opportunity to play early on, they may not be as experienced. They might not have had a dad or a grandpa or whoever that got them playing at a young age, and they might be starting and they're interested. I mean, they're signed up because they're interested in playing. If they're not as good as some of the other players, and the coach just kind of gives them the minimum amount of innings, puts them at the positions that they're going to get the least amount of balls, and and plays it that way, that kid's going to get discouraged really quick. So I think that's really an important coaching strategy when we're talking about young kids playing ball. And I'm glad to hear you guys, that was your approach, and because I think that's a sure way to get more kids interested in continuing to play.
One thing I want to touch on quickly before Jon jumps and cuts me off, that I told Jon, I said, he goes, okay, where do you think this kid plays? Right field. So that's always the idea, right? And not that Jon didn't know, it's just that the idea that the weaker ball players go in the outfield. I'm an outfielder, and I'm not a weak ball player, okay? When I played the game, I was good. I didn't make it pro, but I was good. But I told Jon, if we don't move these kids in, even if they make a mistake, they're never going to understand the game. They're never going to learn the game. So we would move them in, move them out, but we wouldn't put a kid in a position that we felt was going to get hurt. Because you put a kid that gets hurt and you're scared. So we work with them on that. But I think we were so good. Jon and I gelled so well together, and we became friends. You know, Jon doesn't look it, but he's Puerto Rican, well, half Puerto Rican, right, Jon? But we just gelled so well. We understood each other. And half the time I would just ignore him. I was just kind of like, whatever. Tell my wife, he's just crazy right now. I have no time for him. I don't want to. But one other thing I want to touch on, what Jon can touch on too, is a lot of the kids who, like you said, they get signed up by the grandparents. A lot of the kids we had didn't have a parent. They might not have a dad. You know, they probably things are going on at home. They would come to the field and they're like serious all the time. You're trying to figure out like what's wrong with them. Like, why is it so serious? And then, you know, we're also trying to figure out our own kids that they're moody, whatever, they're going through their stuff. But then you become a mentor, right? You become a father figure to these kids. And then you want to be there for them and do as much as you can to help them, because you know when they go back home, you don't know what their home is like. You don't know what's happening there. You don't know what's depressing them there. So when, every time they came to the field, we made sure that we were fun. Jon is like a ballerina around the field, jumping around, doing all these crazy, like, really gets into like
he had to use the word ballerina to describe it.
If I can film or do right now what he would do, he would just tell this story and I'm behind him. He didn't know, telling the kids like, don't worry about it, just he's fine, he's not crazy, he's good, you know. But he made it fun. You know, he made it really fun where the kids were just like always laughing and joking, and when they left the field they couldn't wait to get back on it, you know. And that's the thing that him and I, you know, we're great with that, you know, just kind of like being a dad to all the kids, not just our own kids. So playing daddy ball with the 9, 12 kids we had, you know, to know that they knew that they can, you know, hey, you want to try this position? Okay, try it. If they failed at it, okay, Jon, I'm going to work with him on the side to get him better at that position so that the next game he can play it and get better at it, not where we just push him to the side and don't care about him or care about her. So I think him and I really gel with that. And we had some other coaches that didn't maybe agree with that philosophy, but we didn't care. It worked. And all that mattered was that we wanted our kids to love the game, but love it in the sense that, wow, you know, look what my dads are doing. Look what my dads are doing for other kids. And how does that gel together? And I think our success will pretty much put anyone to the test on how they coach teams.
I just wanted to first thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk about this, because this is something that has been very passionate for me, and this isn't something I'd probably tell Dave on one-on-one. So this is a good forum for me to tell him this. But you know, and I don't know this off the top of my head. There was an article in Time magazine that came out in like 2017 talking about basically how Little League Baseball has become this you know, multi-billion-dollar industry. It was a Time magazine article about the competitiveness of baseball and the stress and all of the things involved in it. I mean, I think it's like 30 million kids right now in America, I think, as of last year, are involved in organized sports, which is great. But the one thing that Dave taught me was that David had the ability of connecting with each and every single player, where I can tell you who is good at what position. David can tell me what's going on with that individual player. He got to know their parents. He got to know their family. He was always aware of the parents that would drop their kids off and, you know, and never show up to a practice or a game. So, I mean, you know, he started changing me over time. I think we had a lot of effect on kids over the years, but I can certainly say that a lot of those kids had a big effect on me. I think organized sports, whether it's baseball or any other sport, is probably one of the most important things we can do, especially in today's day. You know, we live in a world of instant gratification. You want something, you want to run a video, you want to get a game, everything happens quickly. You're part of organized sports. It's not, you know, especially in baseball, it's usually a long season. It's a long game. You got to get 3 outs an inning. It's tedious. You got to work hard for it, and it's not an instant gratification. And those are values that, you know, you can't teach kids that. That is something that, you know, you have to learn through experience. And that's one of the things that I've seen so many times. And I know David has had parents. I've had parents come up to me and thank us for the the positive influence we've had on their kids, not just teaching them baseball, but just spending the time with them and being able to play with them. And I mean, it was I look back on it. When I look back on these last 7 years, it was definitely one of the greatest 7 years of my life as far as being rewarding. I recently went to go see David's son play, and I was sitting in the stands, and it was like I was watching this man catching, and I was like, I couldn't believe it was just he was just so incredible. Yeah, he was so incredible behind the plate, and it was just it's just hard to explain how rewarding it is. So I would just urge any dad or uncle or grandfather that does want to get involved in baseball that, this isn't just go out there and throw your best 9 players and win. There's so many factors, there's so many layers, there's so many moving parts, there's so many things going on. For a lot of these kids, that might be the only time that they ever hear, hey, you did a good job today, or hey, I'm proud of you. And that's one of the things that, Dave showed me through the years. It's one of the things that, I'll look back on. And unfortunately, I'm at the age now where I'm not cool enough to coach Jack, my son. So, but which is good. And that was a hard decision for me, and I missed it and stuff. But I honestly, in hindsight, and I called Dave all upset one night, and of course he calmed me down, and he's like, look, it there comes a time where you teach him to be independent, and you want to let him grow, and you want to let him start learning under different coaches. I mean, I've taught him everything that I know, and at this point we can just be the biggest fan. So, but it has truly been just one of the greatest experiences of my life.
I'm gonna touch on one thing what he just said real quick. So I did walk away from my son last year, and I said he needed to coach with someone else coaching. One, because he's kind of stubborn. So I just said it's time for you to be with someone else. And it was an experience that he even saw, because he didn't play all the time. He knows that he came in and out, and the experience wasn't a good one for him. And he almost wanted to quit the game. And I decided to change leagues closer to where we're home. It was a long distance drive every practice. I said, better just come to the leagues closer to home. And we did that. And he just said, Dad, I just want you there. I just want you on the field, And I always would told the other coaches, you're going to coach my son, and I'm going to coach the other kids. Just so this way I'm there. And he just came alive again, and he loved the game. So some kids, need that, and you think that they need that father figure there just to watch him play. I could probably say some of my experiences, maybe my dad wasn't at all my games and that I could remember, but my kids, there's not a game I'm not there. It's kind of hard now because they're both, one's old in high school, the other one's little league, but I try to be there every single game I can, and not being on the field, for some reason, he just felt like I want my dad on the field. So I came on the field, and like Jon said, he's just like an animal now. I mean, he's just another ball player. And then I actually got to watch Jackson play, and Jon's, kind of was helping out a little bit with the team I have now. But just kind of being there, and his son is just on another level too. I'm like, man, like, wow, like these kids are just like, you see them go from so quickly. Life goes by so fast, and you see that. But I think we just taught our kids that it's just not about winning. It's about loving this game. And if you love this game so much, the winning will come, but it'll be winning. You'll love the game, that you'll respect the game. And if you respect the game, you'll play it the right way. And eventually, hopefully, you get on a team that they win all the time. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. You love it. And you're willing to put the hard work in to just get better. And his son's so much better in pitching. I mean, there was days that I'm like, oh, my God, he's not listening. But he got it. He got it. And he because everyone develops differently. And that's another point. Everyone develops differently. Everyone develops in a different time frame. You can't push a kid and expect him to be an all-star when he's not ready.
Right.
It clicks at a certain time in their mind and their understanding of the game. Like, I saw my son playing the other day, and he is like court awareness in basketball, right? He had field awareness behind the plate the day Jon was there. And he picked off a kid at second base from home plate and threw it to second base, and they got him at third base, and he picked up a kid. And I'm like, wow, like, he picked up on that by himself because it clicked now. He sees the game, and that's what I want. I would love coaches to understand. Don't get on that kid because he doesn't get it. There's a reason. We don't know. But when you spend the time to find out, I promise you. He'll get it.
I would go to David and I'd be like, David, I just some of these other dads, they've got like a sports psychiatrist with their kids on the weekends. Are you sure that we should just let them just love the game? And he's like, Don, just let them love the game of baseball first. And so many of those kids aren't even playing baseball anymore, and it's just really funny how that works. And going back to my first point, this way of coaching that David instilled in me, and that the philosophy that we carried out, that's not always going to be the culture for those dads that want to go and get involved. The pressure to win is high, and the pressure to cut corners and to to compete and to get those banners, it's very real and it's palpable. And I felt the pressure, and I called Dave with an incident one time, and he told me I had to stand my ground, and I just wanted to call in sick the next day, but I did. I stood my ground, and the pressure to win sometimes is in direct conflict with the philosophy that we've been talking about today, and that's unfortunate. But I can just tell you, for any dad listening to this that wants to get involved in either their kid's life or just to get involved in this, I just would urge you to commit as much as you can, 110%, because you really will change lives. And in this world of instant gratification, baseball or any other sport teaches you that if you want it, you just don't click on something and get it. If you want it, you got to work at it, and it's something that will build over time, and then you'll get better. And I've seen his son the other day, and him watching my son the other day. We were just like kind of like sitting back, like, wow, man, I guess Dave was right at work. So I have a lot to be thankful for, and I owe a lot to David. So he's more than just a friend, by the way. I mean, we consider him family now. So we've come a long way from that stare down that he gave me in T-ball when I thought he was going to go over there and kick I said, man, I left New York for this. I was like, this guy.
You thought he was going to be
that
dad, right?
Yeah, I was like, man.
Jon.
Yeah, exactly right. I was like, oh, brother, maybe this isn't for me.
I got to say, I'm just, hearing your guys' story is really, really cool for me. I'm listening and I'm picking up on a lot of it. And I think it's so important. And I think I said it a little bit earlier, but it's so important that you worked on instilling their, being patient with the kids, and then instilling that they're there to play. I mean, like David said earlier, these kids aren't signing up for contracts yet. At 9, 10 years old, they're not. I don't think they are. I don't think they're recruiting. You'd be surprised, I guess, if they were in some places they might be, but at 9, 10 years old, they're just getting a feel for for playing, and if you're going to keep them playing for a longer period of time, there's only a short window where kids play sports, and some will go on to play in the high school and college, but there's a short window, but they do those like memories that they have of playing. And that experience that lasts for a long time. And in fact, it lasts their whole lives. Yeah. So I think that what you guys are saying about your approach to coaching, and you have done some winning too. It's not like you guys are out there to lose games.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, championship game comes, we win,
but you're bringing everybody up. You're taking, you're instead of, I'm playing the stars, I'm sitting the bums, you're like, we're going to bring everybody up, and they're all part of the team, and they can contribute something to it. So I'm impressed by it. And it's a good story.
I have one little quick thing I want to leave you guys with. I had a team before I coached Jon, my oldest son, and I had brothers on the team. One was a great ball player, one was okay, and throughout the whole season, you can see the difference, how the younger brother kind of tailed away because he knew his bigger brother was better. And I think they were twins, but one was, I don't know. It was just that they were either a year apart or twins, but you can tell the difference. And we made it to the championship in fall ball, my oldest son. And we come up and the game is tied, last inning, 2 outs, bottom of the inning, and the younger brother comes up And I'm not gonna lie, I said, okay, I started planning for the next inning. Not that I have confidence because he played well, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna plan for the next inning, see what happens. He hits a shot to right field over the right fielder's head. And in my mind, I'm thinking, he's gonna score. I'm gonna bring him what he's gonna get what he deserves. And he came to third base and the ball's coming in. I said, you know, if he gets thrown out, he gets thrown out. And I sent him, and I was actually too close to home plate. I had to pull away. I was in the middle of the play. And I just see him slide and the ball goes away, and he won the championship for us. That kid never played baseball again. But what did he walk away with? He walked away with winning the championship for us.
Yeah.
And just because he got a chance to play. So that's why me and Jon always said, you know, that player that may not know, you know what? Give him 110% attention, and they will surprise you. You never know. They may be the next stars in the game. Who knows? The next legend on deck.
That's right. Good
Absolutely.
Plug. Good plug. Well, that was awesome, guys. I really appreciate this. I think it was a great way, David, to start this podcast back off here. I think you know, talking baseball from like the most grassroots level, right?
Yeah, agree.
You know, there's nothing beyond. There's nothing better than that. So, Jon, thank you for spending time with us today.
No, it was a great honor. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thank you a lot for inviting me. I appreciate it.
We'll get him on again when we want to talk about all the other baseball experiences, maybe, you know, kind of delve into some of the games, the intricacies of the game. He's a Yankee fan. Don't ask me how we get along because I'm a Mets fan, but we try to make it work.
Yeah, I do want to stress we did win our share of games. I did want to stress that. We won some championships.
Yeah, no, that's good. But I mean, that's an approach to winning. So it shows you that you can. It's, you know, you can win.
Right.
I mean, the kids want to win. Listen, I mean, the kids want to win as much as the coaches want to win. It's more fun to win than it is to lose. But the way that you went about it and the way that you've gone about it in understanding that each player is a kid and they're, you know, getting involved in this and as an extracurricular activity, you want them to have a very positive experience.
Yeah, because just imagine the kid that really I'm saying oh, he got off. The kid that doesn't really play,
I'm here.
The kid that doesn't really play that much, or not that he plays that much, it doesn't think he's good enough to play that much, and we put him to play a lot, and you win, that kid goes home and tells his friends, we won. You're right. You did because you played. You were involved in it. The kid that sits on the bench and doesn't get to play at all, the team wins, that kid never feels like a winner.
Right. Like it's so much important getting confidence into kids. You know, to see that no matter what it is, baseball is an example and a good example, but giving them the confidence that they need, right, to feel that they can succeed. So that's good.
We'll write the book and we'll share it out. We'll let you guys know.
Perfect. We'll be pitching that book here, and how long is it going to take you guys to write that thing?
Oh my God!
I can spit that out real fast.
Okay, good. We're gonna start pitching that. It'll be an Amazon bestseller soon.
All right, and for the next episode, you want to just touch on? We'll be coming out soon with another episode.
Yeah, is that the one we're gonna do with John Ginder?
Yeah, we try to talk about the beginnings of Legends on Deck. That should be something we're gonna come back out. That's another interesting story.
Yeah, we've got that one. We've got Matthew Carper, right, with one of our photography guys. He's got a lot of good, interesting stuff at Legends on Deck over the years. Great photographer.
And has a daughter that's top 100 ball players, 14U in the country. And her story, we're gonna bring her on to share her story and her playing the game. And we got a lot of interesting things at Legends on Deck. So if anybody wants to check out the site, it's legendsondeck.com. We try to stay as active as possible with the site. We have writers that come and go, but the consistent writers we have a writer from Bahamas that talks about the Bahamian ball players.
Jeff Francis, he does. Exactly. He's pumping out some really interesting. I mean, that's one thing. That Bahamas site part of our website is such unique content. I mean, there are how many people have insight into what's going on with ball players in the Bahamas. Exactly. And Jeff Francis writes frequently for us and puts out all that really good stuff. So
I want to congratulate you guys and just inspire you guys to keep doing this, because this is it's something that's just not talked about enough. So I'm really just encourage you guys and just want to congratulate you on doing this. This is great. It really is.
Thank you, John. Get your computer and start writing. Maybe we'll make you a writer.
Yeah, that's right. We need some more articles up there.
If you guys want some bonus material, I can post a video of my son winning the championship, because I didn't see it live. My wife taped it because I passed out 2 innings before because I got stress problems. So we can post it.
Perfect.
But thank you guys for having me, for real. I really do appreciate it.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks, John. All right, David.
Signing off, guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right, we'll talk soon. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.